Hello, everyone. So I decided that I'm going live every day. Let me cover my head up. So I am in my car because my children my one kid had an event that they needed to do. And because I said I was going live yesterday at 6, I wanted to go live again today at 6 because traditionally I am still at work and I just thought it would be consistent of me to say 6. So one of the things that someone told me is that you need to go live at the same time every day. Every day, every day, every day. So I am late, but that's okay. I'm 6 minutes late. But this message is for those who is for. So if you do not know me, my name is Miss Sam. I am the administrator / owner of Taylor Active Learning, Yale Dim Academy. We serve children ages 6 weeks to 13 years of age. We are a early learning and care facility located on the west side of Cleveland. We are a loving, nurturing, and caring environment. We are a goal-rated center. We have been open for 3 years. In November, it'll be 5. So I am a veteran teacher. I taught for 16 years in, 13 years in Cleveland Metropolitan School District and 3 years in Alexandria, Virginia. I have, I do have a passion for children. I have a passion for youth, and that passion has always spilled over into my work. But today's topic is about So make sure you comment, like, and subscribe to this channel. But today's topic is about parenting is hard. So recently, one of my daughters, I got a lot of things going on with my children, but recently, one of my children got suspended from school. And the reason why they got suspended was because someone pushed them and my child fought back. That's why they got suspended. But it was the fact that I have tried consistently to tell my children, don't put yourselves in situations where you have to fight. And I've also tried to shield and protect my children from situations where they had to fight. I do not believe that a child should grow up fighting. I'm just being honest. And that's coming from someone who used to fight all the time. Now, I only fought, and if I look back over my life, I fought because, you did something that was wrong. Like your character, your integrity was flawed, and because it was flawed, you lied, you didn't tell the truth, you were dishonest. I felt like you needed to learn a lesson, and that lesson needed to be a memorable lesson from me so that you know that the next person you interact with, you don't do that same behavior. Now, I have matured because my daughter, who is the oldest one, not the one that just got in trouble, the oldest one told me, like, oh, you really saved now. Like, the old you would have been raped. So I just stand on ground. But parenting is hard because you tell your children what they shouldn't do, right? But part of that is protecting your child from getting themselves into a situation that will cause them to get in trouble at school. And I've always told my children, even as they are in middle school now, the older two are there. One has graduated from college and the other one should have been graduated from college, but that's a whole nother YouTube that I can come on and talk about tomorrow. But I tell my children, don't listen to me because I'm from the school of fighting. I could tell anybody that. I tell my kids that. Don't listen to me because my advice is going to get you in trouble at school. It is just going to get you in trouble at school. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to run from nobody and we're not going to cower down from nobody. If somebody hits you, you have all the grounds to hit them back. Period. Now, is that good advice for a school setting? No, it's not. Because regardless if they hit you first or you hit them second, y'all both gonna get in trouble. But the truth of the matter is, just like my child is not a punk or somebody to back down to someone else, neither is your child. But part of the issue of this whole situation is the lack of parenting that I'm seeing from these children's parents. They're so busy trying to work that they're spending less time with their kids. And what that time looks like is they're not hugging their kids. They're not telling their children that they're important and that they're valued. They're not telling them their self-worth. So when, hello, um, so when they're faced with a situation and somebody calls them out of their name, they don't know who they are. So because your child doesn't know who they are when they are faced with a conflict, it's easy for them to subject themselves to the conflict, right? Because they haven't been affirmed at home. They haven't been told, hey, you're beautiful. I love you. Good night. Don't do that. Just little things. A hug. How was your day today? Did you have fun at school? Like all of those topics matter when you are a parent. One of the things that we consistently do at the center and that I make sure all of my employees do is when that kid walked through the door, it's good morning. How are you today? How was your evening? Why? Because consistency matters. When I'm constantly asking my own personal children, children that are not mine, children who are in my care, how are you doing? Good morning. That's the behavior that they're expected. Not only do I say good morning, but each child gets a hug. First thing when I walk through the door, there is no child. No, I don't talk Spanish. Poquito español. So I'm poquito español. I wish I did. I wish I spoke Spanish fluently. No, no español, senora. Or senor or senorita. But I wish that I make sure that every kid knows that I see you. I appreciate you. Now let's talk. And I look them in their eye. I also get down at their level because I'm taller, so they're not looking up at me. I bend down and I talk to them. And then the more I've known the child, the less time I spend bending down, and the more time that the child will look up and we have eye to eye contact. That's something that I do. I even do that with my children. Every day, I will look my kid in the face. Even if I'm driving, I'll look up in the rear view mirror and I'll ask them, how was your day today? No, I'm not from Peru. Um, and so because I looked them in their face, yes, I am a teacher. I'm a 16-year veteran teacher. I've been owning a child care center for 3 years, going on 4 years. But I look my kid in the face and ask them, how was your day today? You know, your kid has a purpose, and there's also a purpose. There's also an adversary who's out to stop your your child from fulfilling their purpose. And that's what makes parenting so hard. There is no rule book for you to go by to say, this is what I should do. This is what I shouldn't do if this situation happened. If this situation happened with my kid, this is what I do. You have to have outstanding morals and values for you to know, and they learn this from day one. They cry, oh, don't cry, mommy love you. Oh, don't cry, daddy love you. Oh, you a big girl. It's okay. Get up. Come on, you can do it. And it's all that encouragement you give when they're young. And when they get old, for some reason, a lot of parents forget that that's needed. They think like, oh, they got it. No, they don't have it. And especially in middle school, it is very difficult in middle school for all children because there's so much going on within their brains. Is this right? Is that right? Did I do this right? Like, oh my goodness, my body's changing. Oh my goodness, I look different from the other girls. Like they're starting to notice differences. So with parenting, it's important that you create, the family that maybe you didn't have or the family that you wish you had with your kid so that they know that they're loved. So when they're faced with a situation where they have to defend themselves, they can do it with confidence. Now, defending yourself doesn't mean that you're necessarily fighting, but defending yourself means that you will respect me. If you won't respect me, you will not acknowledge me. And it's building your children up to the level where they know their name. They know their name that was given to them in any situation. If somebody calls them another name that's not their name, they don't even acknowledge that. That's the type of self-confidence that you rarely see in today's children, regardless of if it's in a 2 to 12, a 6 week to a 13-year-old, or if it's a middle schooler. But you have to remember that these are children, and we have to treat all children the same. And you can argue back and forth with me all day long, all night long about, oh no, my kid has a disability. They need accommodations for their disability. Kids don't understand accommodations because you have a disability. And a kid doesn't even know if another kid has a disability unless an adult says something or that kid says something. All kids know, and I will repeatedly say this, is Jimmy went to the bathroom 5 times today. I gotta go once and the teacher told me no. Or I gotta go once and I couldn't go. That's all they know. They don't know that Jimmy has, a health condition that requires him to go to the bathroom frequently, or visit the nurse, or do this, or he got to eat at a certain time and take medication at this. They don't know nothing about that. They could care less about any of that. All they know is Jimmy done left 5 times. Why he get to leave 5 times? That ain't fair. I can't even leave once. But it is our responsibility to affirm the same rules so they know, okay, I feel like I'm seen. I feel like I'm appreciated. I feel like I'm valued. And it is a feeling. It's a feeling. It's a feeling of comfort. It's a feeling of contentment. It's a feeling of I belong. And if you as a parent don't know what that feels like, it is difficult for you to do that for your own child. I know what it feels like to be loved. That's why I can love somebody else's kid. I can love a stranger on the street. I can see somebody who needs something and without a shadow of a doubt, try to meet the need to the best of my ability because I know what it's like for all of my needs to be met. I know what it's like to have parents who have provided to meet my needs. I know what it's like to see my parents give to those who are in need, who need somebody to help them. I've lived through it. I've been with my father. I had to remind my father this weekend, not this weekend, well, last weekend. I'm like, I seen you pick up a stranger on the side of the street whose car had broke down, and you took them to the next city for safety. You took them to a mechanic. You didn't have to do that, but I saw that with my own eyes. And I didn't just see it once, my father do it. I've seen him do it repeatedly. I saw my father do it so much that one time I asked him, why you keep picking up all these people? Ain't you afraid that they gonna do something? He was like, well, I got a gun, so they can do all they want. But I'm gonna shoot them before they get me. I'm like, oh, okay. That's different. But I'm saying this is that parenting is hard. You cannot be so consumed with yourself as a parent that after you birth a child, you forget them. And if you are willing to forget your kid, give them to somebody who will never forget who they are. Give them to somebody who will value who they are. Give them to somebody who is willing to nurture them. But no matter who the kid is, because I know somebody right now that was adopted, there's always this yearning and longing to be with their biological parent. I don't know what it is. I don't know how the brain is wired, but once they find out they're adopted, there is something in their brain that's wired to always want that parent that they never had. Even with children who aren't adopted, but their mother and father, are not together, they're not married. It's like, I want to be with my daddy. If the dad is not around, or I want to be with my mom. Because now you have more and more men who are caring for children than women as single fathers. So I want to be with my father. But what we're not gonna do is let our middle school kids, our high school kids raise themselves. Because you don't know how somebody on the other end is being raised. You do what we're not gonna do is that, and then we're not gonna come behind and then try to pacificate it. And right now, I'm in a situation where I am spending a lot of money. When I say a lot of money, the typical American cannot afford to spend what I'm spending to live in a certain area right now. And what I'm seeing is parents who are paying the same amount and they're bringing their ghetto mentality. And yes, I said it, their ghetto mentality, their ghetto habits, because it doesn't mean that you're from the ghetto because I say ghetto, but it's it's the lack of care that you're providing for your child. It's the lack of I love you that you're providing for your child. You're not providing for your child, right? You're not telling your kid how, you know, I want better for you. I want more for you. You're not putting them in activities that they're gifted in. Every kid is gifted in something different. Everybody on the face of this earth has been given a skill. It's a skill that they're going to do better than anybody else, regardless of if you agree with me or not. But that's the truth. Even the people who watching right now, there is a skill that you possess that you do and you do it well. If I tried to do it, I would fail and I would flop, and it would just be like, what are you doing? But there's a skill that you are gifted with, just like your child is gifted with a skill. They're gifted with the ability to do something that will help somebody else, that will be somebody else's answer. I heard this lady say, you are the answer. I am the answer. You are the answer. Your kid is somebody's answer. I always used to tell my students the story about these three little girls who were, and I'm going to call them little girls because they were under 18. They were abducted within the city of Cleveland, and their parents were searching for them. But this one man walked past the house, just eating his McDonald's, as he said, and he heard them and he saved them girls. What if his whole life was built on the fact that he was destined to save them three girls from a child abuser, from somebody who was a rapist? That was his whole life plan. What if somebody would have told him when he was younger that was what he was going to do? Do you think he would have believed them? But the point of the story is this person that nobody knew saved three people. One of the girls ended up, or two of them ended up having babies by the man. So not only did he abduct the young ladies, but he raped them. She got pregnant. I don't even know how you have a baby and nobody puts two and two together that, this is not your husband, or it's weird that this older man is with this younger girl and this is their baby. Like, nobody asked no questions. Nobody thought it was weird. Nobody thought something was off. But this man, that was his whole purpose. His purpose was to save those girls. And I'm not saying that life is done with him and that his life is over, but how much, like, to me, that was like, wow, you were born to save these three girls. What is your child born to do? What are they born to do? Are they born? Are they being raised up? Are they being trained for their skill, their purpose, the one thing that they're destined to do on this earth? That no matter what happens, it will always, they will know I am made for this. And that is our responsibility as parents to train our children to fulfill their purpose on this earth. That's why it's hard. You have to be in tune with your kid. And when I say in tune, you got to know your kid. You got to know who they are. You got to look at their traits, their good traits, their bad traits. I got a kid now. They'll look you in your face. This is my own personal kid, the kid I birthed. And they'll lie right straight to your face. Now, I know when they lying. And I tell them they lying. You lying. Don't say that. You lying. Oh, yeah, I am lying. Like, no, I don't want to hear that. You lying. I need the truth. I need you to always tell me the truth. I'm your parent. I am the person here to protect over you. My children's father is deceased. He died early in life. He's gone. I'm their only parent. I'm their only live parent. It is my responsibility to protect you. If you are a parent, it is your responsibility to protect your child at all costs. It is your responsibility to guide your child the right way. Now, if your children choose to do something that's not right and go astray, it's not a reflection of you. People want to praise you when they're doing good, and then they want to praise you when they're doing bad. That's the truth. But the truth of the matter is, your children's choices is not a reflection of you. It's just not. I've made bad choices when I was a kid. I don't expect my kids to do it all right. Shoot, I've made bad choices as an adult. But I've learned that I cannot live in condemnation because I believe in Jesus Christ. I've learned that my life is blessed, favored, and protected because of my belief what I'm grounded in. You know, I believe children should be children. And the only way that they can make childlike decisions is if they're always treated that way. So I make sure you subscribe to our channel, that you comment, you like, and just be a good parent. You know, being a parent is hard. If you're not, and all it takes is one conscious decision today. You know what? I haven't done some things right, and you can admit to it. My children will tell you if I make a mistake and I know I learned my mistake that I made, I will go to them and say, "Hey, I was wrong. I shouldn't have said that." I even do that to kids that's not my kids. "Hey, I was wrong. I apologize." You know, I've had students come to me and be like, "You was wrong. You shouldn't have said that. That really hurt their feelings." And when they say stuff like that, I'm like, "Well, if 3 kids then came to me and said I was wrong, I gotta be wrong. All right, let me go and apologize." Because, like, I believe if I make a fool in a certain place, I'm gonna apologize in that same place. I am not too good. I'm not too proud to come back and say, "Hey, I was wrong." And just like I was told that I embarrassed you in this place in front of all these people, I'm going to apologize. I'm not embarrassed, but I am going to apologize to show you how humble I am, for you to understand as someone under 18 that I shouldn't have done that and I was wrong. And typically when that had happened in the past, because I was a teacher, they would say, "You was the first person who ever told me that you were wrong." Like, wow, I never thought that adults did that. Yeah, because I'm the example. I'm the example. Every parent out here, every adult out here, you're the example of what other people will expect. You're the example of what a 6 week year old to a 13-year-old, shoot, from a 6 week, from birth to 18 is going to expect how other people will behave towards them. You are the example. Every one of your actions is the example. Can you man up to, "Hey, I messed up," or "This is something I would do"? So parenting is hard. But what we not gonna do, I just want to make this clear. We ain't gonna teach our children to be running off at the mouth and they can't back up what they say. We ain't gonna do that. We not gonna do that. Whatever you say you gonna do, be a person of your word, whether it's good or bad. But whatever you say, make sure you're the best at it. Whatever you say, if you say you could do, and if you're not the best at it, be the person who willing to work at it where you become the best at it. But we not about to sit up here and puff ourselves up and make ourselves seem like we bigger than what we are, and we have no confidence, we have no skill to back up what we saying. That's what we not gonna do. And so I guess it's a lot of people out here perpetrating, but I'm not a perpetrator and I don't raise perpetrators at all too. What I will raise is somebody that says, "Hey, look, I don't want to do this. I'm not into this. Like, I don't want to go down this route with you. You know, can we come to a common ground? Because it's peace. You know, I need to walk in peace and love. And sometimes it's hard for me as an adult to walk in peace and love. And the reason why I have to walk in peace and love is because of my beliefs. But what we not gonna do is provoke somebody where they have to step out of their comfort zone in order for you to understand, like, everybody is not to be played with. Everybody is not to be played with. You cannot raise a kid so confident. That's just like, oh, this is a touchy subject. When I was little, I was fat. I still am fat. I mean, if you really want to know the truth. But I used to get picked on by kids who wasn't, who weren't my friends, who weren't raised by me. And as I got older, the fatness went away. But then I started being a teacher, and I'm like, nah, I wasn't this big. These kids is huge. Now they way bigger than me. And not the fat girls talk about the skinny girls. Like, when did that start happening? Like, I just can't believe that the fat girls is talking about the skinny girls, and the skinny girls not backing up the up. So to end all of that, we just not gonna talk about nobody. If you don't have something kind to say to somebody, don't say nothing at all. That still applies today. It's not going away. It ain't like, disappearing. It ain't like an idea in the sky. Like, I think, I suggest, oh, it sound good, it may be good. Whatever you thinking, yeah, we have to do a better job as parents. We have to do a better job. And we cannot be so prideful that we think we the only ones going through X, Y, and Z. Your story may end up helping someone else. When your kid is doing something you didn't raise them to do, your story may be helping someone else. You cannot forget that. You cannot forget that your story, whatever you going through with your kid, but what people like to do is pump their kids up and be like, oh, my kid is so perfect. Oh, my kid is doing this right. Oh, my kid is doing that right. Oh, this, oh, that. No, your kid is not perfect. Like, your kid is not perfect. My kid is not perfect. If my kid make mistakes, wait, let's stop. If I make mistakes as a parent, my kid is bound to make mistakes. The only person I knew that was perfect was Jesus Christ. I'm not Jesus, neither is my kid, and neither is your kid, and neither are you. And so if Jesus Christ was the only person that was perfect, there's no way that your child could be perfect. Something is coming, right? My oldest daughter, oh my goodness, she was the best kid. She went to sleep. She didn't give me no problems. Everywhere we went, everybody was her friend. She met a new friend everywhere. There was no place that my oldest daughter went that she did not find a friend. She was likable. When I say likable, instantly likable. Like, but when she became a middle schooler and a high schooler, I was like, oh my goodness. And then my son became the one that didn't give me problems. But because I had spent so much time not really picking up on the traits that I should have picked up on and corrected, it made it difficult when it was time for them to be corrected. So I love doing word searches. I was doing one at my mama's house, so that's why it's up there. I love doing word search, just sitting there searching for the words, going through, and I'm really good at it. I'm missing one word right now. This one was kind of difficult. And I digress. But I'm just saying, like, it was hard being, and then it's like the roles reversed. So her older brother he was always into something, right? But it wasn't until a couple of weeks ago I just realized, like, my son was bad. He was really bad. Like, and here I am defending him, like, my son didn't do this, my son didn't do that. Oh my, just no, we're gonna work with him, we're gonna give him the supports he needs and all of this stuff. But my son was bad. Like, he really was bad. But I was young. I was a single mom. I just was trying to make sure my children had good experiences. I sacrificed a huge piece of my life. When I say sacrifice, I mean sacrifice. I would say I sacrificed about 15 years. It actually, shoot, I would say 20 years of my life to make sure that my children they were in great environments, they were in diverse environments, they were in environments where education was important. I lived in those places, I worked in those places, their friendships and the people who they chose to interact with. I was very protective of all of that. But what I notice now is I've kind of like loosened up because I see the end result, and I shouldn't have done that as a parent. The same way the older two were raised, I raised the younger two semi that way, where I did live in a diverse area. I sent them to similar schools, but I focused more on me being happy, me trying to experience things, because I didn't do that for the first 18 years of my other children's life. So with that being said, I see differences. Like, I'm interacting with parents that I would have never interacted with. Like, me and you don't have nothing in common. I'm confused on how you even in this space. Like, like it's nothing. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, but it's just like I know how to get along with everybody. But you and the way you parent, yeah, that ain't my cup of tea. Like, it's just not my cup of tea. And just like I tell people, my center is not for everybody. I have a select group of people. Like, I know who my target market is. The people who stay the longest after 3 years, I can reflect back. And a lot of the people who send their children to the center, who we end up caring for and educating and teaching good social skills to, their parents are similar to me. Like, they don't play about their kids. They want the best for their kids. They kind of, um, they're a piece of them that's kind of like uncertain. And it's not a lack of confidence. It's a lack of like, where did I go wrong at? Like, how can I fix this? Is that, and I know that about them. And so when I talk to them, there's always a shock on their face that I can see through them. Well, I can see through you because I've been through a similar situation. You know, I've been where you are. I made a mistake and I fought through the mistake, and it turned out working in my favor because I have a good work ethic. Just like my parents. My parents always can have a job. They can go to school. They talk educated. You know, their children know that their parents don't play. I can honestly say that about the families we serve. My parents, they don't play about their kids. They don't play about their behavior expectations. They don't play about other people talking to their children reckless or being reckless with their kid. And they don't play with their kids being reckless with other people. But why? Because that's the same behavior that I display. So, a lot of people don't want to be parents. They bully their kids. They mistreat their kids. They talk down on their kids. They make their kids feel as if they are that they're not important. Like, I don't even know why you here. They verbally, physically, and psychologically abuse their children. How you could verbally, psychologically, or physically abuse a child baffles me. Completely baffles me. And I think that you should be locked up. I honestly think that. But that's a whole nother topic. But if you do that to your kid, guess what? Your kid gonna do that to somebody else. And if you do not nip it in the bud, your kid is gonna come across somebody who's loved and know who they are, and they're not gonna tolerate the same foolishness that you and your child perpetrate when you're out in public. So, my name is Miss Sam. I am an administrator and owner of Taylor Active Learning Yale Academy Academy, where we serve, love, and care for children. We help children learn. It's important. You are important. What you have to say is important. And anything you're going through, I'm here to support you until your parent says it's time for you to move on. And oftentimes, our children, when they leave us, they are sad. And they let their parents know repeatedly, when am I going back? I miss Miss Sam. When you gonna let me go back to that center? But that's because we don't just talk a good game, we show a good game. Our actions show that we love and we care for your children. We love and we care for your children because your children are just they're somebody. They're going to do something in this world. They have a purpose. There's one thing, they have a skill that nobody else will have. And when you see that skill in a kid, it is our responsibility as adults to nurture it, to lead them in the path that'll allow it to blossom, to encourage them. When they're sad or when they're down, you should never be sad or down as a kid unless you disobeyed your parent. Like, there is no reason, if your parent tell you don't do X, Y, and Z and you do it anyway, you should be sad, right? But if you just wake up and you sad because your parent made you feel bad, like, you are not welcomed at our center. Just let you know, if you beat up on your kids, my center is not for you. Like, there are other people out there are other centers, but you are not my target market. So when you leave a Google review on our page and say, like, the owner is mean and nasty, it's something wrong with you, because you ain't gonna say nothing to me and talk about me and I don't even know who you are. That's what you're not gonna do, because your child isn't in my center. Your child is not, you're made to feel appreciated. Your child is not loved by us. So why are you even leaving a review? Like, why you got time to talk about what we doing and you haven't even experienced it? Or if you come in just temporarily, you have no idea of what's going on. So I just want you to know that I think you're important. I think that if you need help with parenting, say something. Hopefully you got friends, and hopefully your friends have enough wisdom to be able to lead you the right way as a parent. I mean, yeah, just talking about your situations and the things that you're going through and everything, that's important. So my kids are here and I'm about to end this because I got to be a parent. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great evening. Bye bye.